I think because you just hired a first-time head coach, you're able to stack the assistant room. I'm really curious. That's my guess. I'm really curious to see what the final contract numbers are for Brent Pry.
Right.
Because I think what you're able to do with Brent Pry, and this is something that we have talked about here the last few weeks, the three of us, we have said that if Virginia Tech were to hire a first-time head coach or a head coach like a Charles Huff with limited experience, they would likely be able to put more money into the assistant coaching salary pool, which would be very attractive for a first-time head coach to ensure success. That is something that Virginia Tech did not have the luxury of last time around with Justin Fuente. Whit Babcock went all in, and a couple things here. Whit Babcock went all in with Justin Fuente, which he should have done, because you needed to hire a guy you thought was best for the program to replace a legend, and I understand that. He had to go all in. But number two, Virginia Tech's in a much better spot financially as a football program now in terms of donation and operating budget for the program than they were when they hired Justin Fuente 6 years ago. So you could pay Brent Pry probably around what you paid Justin Fuente if you want to, and still have more money for an assistant coaching pool that you didn't have the luxury of the first time when you hired Fuente. And one last thing I want to say real quick to Andrew's point about Brent Pry. Brent Pry's top all-time commitments, 3 out of the 4 are from the DMV area. Brandon Smith's a 5-star. Curtis Jacobs, another linebacker, a high 4-star. Devin Ford, like Andrew mentioned, a 4-star. And he was the primary recruiter for Micah Parsons, and we know how good Micah Parsons was at Penn State and what he's doing now in the NFL. I mean, Brent Pry can absolutely recruit the hell out of the DMV area, and he can relate to some of these top guys that Virginia Tech has not been able to get. I think this is a very good recruiting hire. I think the staff is going to be extremely important to ensure success of Brent Pry, but there is a lot to like here. And for everybody advocating for Charles Huff, Andrew took the words right out of my mouth. The only difference is 1 7-5 year at Marshall. Yeah. Because Brent Pry has been doing this. And again, I like Charles Huff, not taking anything away from Charles Huff. I would have been thrilled for Charles Huff to be the next head coach of Virginia Tech. But Brent Pry's been doing it a little longer, and I don't think that hurts.
No, I agree. I mean, I think, you look at the things that Whit outlined, right? And the one that really stuck out to me was, I want a coach that, and I'm paraphrasing here, this isn't a direct quote, I want a coach that has a history of success, right? Now, he didn't say a head coach, a history of success as a head coach. He said a history of success. Brent Pry, I mean, that's a huge check mark in that box. He definitely has had a lot of success, not only at Penn State, but also, I mean, he's been with Franklin, almost Franklin's entire coaching career. So learning from kind of that tree, if you will, is a good thing. I like the fact that he's a Virginia Tech guy. I mean, he spent some time here, so that doesn't hurt my feelings at all. And you guys hit it right on the nail right on the head. The recruiting, man, like the thing that we hammer on Justin Fuente for on a regular basis here on ESPN Blacksburg was the fact that you're a hat on the table with these 4- and 5-star kids in Virginia, but they're not putting your hat on. They're putting on the hat of Penn State. And I mean,
and Brent Pry had a reason to do with that.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, give me that. Give me all of that. Like, I want the coach that's going to be out recruiting. I want the coach that's going to wrap. We talk about putting a fence around Virginia. Like, Brent Pry could be that guy. Now, I do agree. We do have to see what he ends up with staff-wise, and who he decides to keep here. I mean, I think a lot of people really want to see him keep J.C. Price.
Yeah.
Whether he does or not, I don't know. I mean, my thought, of course, was if Virginia Tech goes offensive-minded coach, there's a better chance that J.C. Price keeps his job, right? Because Brent Pry conceivably could bring almost his entire defensive staff with him to Penn State, or from Penn State to Virginia Tech. We saw that with Justin Fuente bringing his almost entire offensive staff with him from Memphis here. So, I mean, is there a spot for J.C. Price? I think that's a big question, moving forward for this group. And then how do you stack up the offensive side of things? Because, that's going to be huge for Virginia Tech.
I think a couple guys I would make sure I keep on staff, J.C. Price and Ryan Smith.
Yeah.
Just from a recruiting standpoint, I think Pry, like I said, I think Pry gives you an instant bump in recruiting, but I think if you're able to keep some of your better recruiters on staff in Price and Ryan Smith, and not only that, but, J.C. Price is a Hokie, as we know. He made that very clear on the field in Charlottesville on Saturday night. I think those would be two guys I would prioritize trying to keep, even if Ryan Smith isn't coaching defensive backs. If he's coaching something else on the defense, like if you want him to coach something else, fine. I want his recruiting on the staff. Yeah. I want his ability to relate to players on the staff.